Hello, I am Disbrew, and today Amazon speak out about their massive launch problems, Capcom say they actually want to be a PC publisher for once, and Konami is set to revive Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. Let's see how that one turns out. But first up, were you expecting the Amazon New World MMO to be a major success? Because, Amazon weren't. Yeah, as it launched, it had massive server queues. There just wasn't enough servers, and everyone wanted to be on the same few servers, and Amazon wasn't prepared. Which is amazing, considering they have the AWS cloud server platform. They could just spin up as many servers as they wanted, and it still wasn't enough. Well, now Amazon has spoken out, something that not actually very many developers would have done. Often in this kind of scenario, they just shut up and hope the problem goes away. But Amazon had actually come out and started doing an interview on it to try and explain what went wrong. And apparently the numbers grew so quickly and so close to launch, it caught us by surprise. Now, this is quite an interesting article, especially as you go further down. And they actually give numbers about the work that they did. They worked for 40 hours solid just turning on servers, and they actually, due to AWS, managed to double the amount of servers that they had in just 24 hours. With that in mind, they actually did quite a lot of work to do it. It's just, this is one of those problems that with a new launch MMO, you kind of expect that this is going to happen. You expect that everyone's going to go on the same few servers, but because those servers are sort of dictated by streamers and YouTube content creators, Amazon, unless they actually talk to these people before they actually go live, have no idea where they're going to go, so they just can't prepare. It's a weird problem that's very predictable and very hard to solve all at the same time. But later on, he actually goes to talk about how they base their player numbers based on the pre-order and beta numbers, which sounded weird to me because I remember the beta, and that was incredibly popular on its own, or at least so I thought. And while I'm glad that the message about pre-orders has actually gone through, and that now players don't pre-order games because Cyberpunk probably taught quite a few people a lesson about that one, I still remember the actual beta numbers being really high. I remember Twitch being insane numbers. So I thought they would have been able to tell. But as you can see here, the numbers for New World players have actually just kept going up. They started on the first day at 700,000 players, and now, just yesterday, they're at 913. Normally you would expect player numbers to go down, but they've actually risen by 200,000. This game can't be stopped. But it's the Twitch numbers that I remember, because here on the first day was 979,000, very quickly drops to 731,000. 728,000 is what they were in beta, so very, very comparable. Only 200 behind the first day of launch, and one day into it, they're actually the same. So why weren't they ready for it? Well, I actually found the beta numbers, and the beta numbers actually come in at 141,000. Again, 141,000 versus 913 as of yesterday. That's a massive increase. No wonder they didn't have enough servers. Until I actually found this number, I was a bit more on the side of everyone else. But when you actually see that amount of difference, I kind of think, yeah, okay. Even if they doubled their beta numbers and thought they were going to be massively successful, there's literally no way on earth they would have ever planned for 700,000 to get in on the first day and 900 yesterday. It's just not possible. Nobody expects, what is it, a 6 times increase in their player numbers from beta to launch. So with this, I can kind of get a bit more on their side. I kind of more understand where Amazon's coming from with this one. Now, they did also say that the 40% of their servers were actually empty or had no queue. So this was very much for people wanting to get on the same few servers that were causing the issue, and that's what they had to keep adding servers to the cluster for. But either way, with that much of an increase, I don't think any developer could have planned for this one. As a PC gamer, timed exclusivity on consoles really just makes no sense to me. I've never seen PC and consoles as having some kind of competition between them. I don't think they take the same player base. I don't think they harm each other's markets. And so that's why when some developers do it, I just kind of write off the games. If you're going to treat me like a second-class citizen, I'm just not going to care about your games. And this has led me to write off a lot of game series, and even quite a lot of publishers. And this is why this announcement was such a surprise to me. That Capcom actually want sales between PC and console to be 50-50 by 22 or 23. All I've got in my head when I think of Capcom is their timed exclusives, with things like Monster Hunter, which were just timed exclusives on Sony PlayStation. I'd never really played those games. I've never cared about those games because when they were released, it was kind of just giving me the finger. And if you want to do that, I'm not going to give you my money. So this is really interesting to me, the thought that we might actually get Capcom games hopefully at the same time. Because if you actually want to have equivalence between the different platforms, you're going to have to treat them equivalent and not as second-class citizens. So if you're a fan of all your Capcom titles and all your Capcom franchises, then hopefully, if you're a PC gamer, we might actually be getting them all released at the same time. This is good news for everybody. I don't really see the point of exclusives, and I certainly don't think there's any reason for gamers to support them. So as far as I can see, this is very good news. If you're a fan of Konami and their IPs, then this next rumor might fill you with dread or make you ecstatic. It really depends how much of an optimist you are. You see, this rumor is that Konami is set to revive Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. Now, my issue is that Konami, a while ago, actually decided that they were just going to focus on pachinko machines because it made them the most money, and it meant that they didn't actually require any talent to make any games. This, I don't know whether this was caused by it was just a side effect, but Hideo Kojima left the company back in 2015, and quite honestly, if I was a game developer and my game development company stopped making games because they wanted to make gambling machines, then I wouldn't be particularly happy either. But either way, he ended up leaving the company in 2015, and this means that Metal Gear Solid actually, nobody knows what's going to happen to it. The person that made Metal Gear what it is today isn't with the company anymore, and the only Metal Gear after he left was Metal Gear Survive. The less said about that game, the better. So really, I'm just not sure what I think about this. For me, I'm just very, very cautious. This is like finding out that one of my favorite movie series is being remade right now. I just don't think I'm that much of an optimist to say that these are going to be good. We've seen with Metal Gear Survive the kind of stuff that Konami actually wants to make right now. And that's not my kind of thing. So I hope it's good. I hope they can do with Silent Hill and the rest exactly what they did before. I'm just not going to bet my life savings on it. But for now, that's it from me. If you liked the video, press like and subscribe for more videos in the future. And let me know what you thought of today's topics down below. But for now, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.